Okay. Here we go. Welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast. Remember, you do not have to drown in the sea of transition. You grab that VET S.O.S Lifeline. We're here to help. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because after you hear this conversation, you're going to be probably pushing out to everybody. I'm telling you that right now, because we got the doc in the house. We have the doc in the house, and he's going to share what he's been doing, helping the veteran community, helping the mental health community, and helping human beings all around. Because if you don't know, now you know. But now we're gonna be sitting on the stoop, and we're gonna get some of the scoop about the documentary that he's doing, the video documentary, and talk about some more other stuff that y'all don't have no idea it existed. Just like out there, people say, "Yo, how long you knew Charlie?" I knew Charlie for about the last 10 minutes, but when you hear the conversation, you like, "Yo, y'all knew each other for years. We met in a prior life, right? In a prior life." So this is great. So Dr. Charlie Powell is a decorated retired naval officer, war veteran, multiple medical patent holder, and former owner and chief medical officer of a major medical system in Texas. In 2024, Dr. Powell founded Solo Vive, meaning just live, as the parent company to St. Charlie Results, Vive Scientific, and Solo Vive Studios, and Healing Heroes, a treatment program and documentary, and aimed to helping victims of PTSD, of which he himself has found healing. What began as a series is now a full-length documentary giving voice to the heroes still fighting to heal. You want to know what the documentary is? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Healing Heroes, No Mind Left Behind. Premieres, mark your calendar, March 2026, Medal of Honor Day. So let's honor not just the fallen, but also the millions of forgotten heroes among us. The veterans battling PTSD, they served us, and now it's our obligation to serve them. Dr. Charlie, how are you doing today?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be you.
Oh, brother, this is gonna be so awesome. I tell people, like, so Dr. C, let me share a little. So I got a little some feedback. People like, "Oh man, why are you so loud and why are you so hyped when you do the introduction and bringing people in?" I said, because I'm not supposed to be here. Like, me breathing and talking right now, it's giving me the energy to make it to tomorrow. Cause we talked about that, right? Like, if I make it to tomorrow never come, cause tomorrow turns into to today. So, cause it's a battle every day I wake up. There's a war going on inside every single day, every single minute, every single second. It's the choice I do to keep battling, because I know others out there. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you,
sure
man.
you understand.
They're struggling and they're quiet because they're scared to say anything about it. And that is so damn common. So common.
I was scared for a long time. I was scared of being judged. I was scared of being ousted. I was scared of people whispering behind my back. I was all of that stuff. I was scared. Am I good enough? Like, man, I'm tough, man. I tell people, like, "Oh, you know where I'm from? I'm from the city." Nothing, but I tell you, you don't know. Like, it hits different when you're in the movie. Like, you can watch the movie all day long, but when you're in the movie and you're actually one of the main characters, it's different.
Yep. I'm with you. No, I'm with you. It's so I was a physician for 26 years. And 16 of that I was in the military. Actually, when I first joined the Army in '89, I was a combat medic in the Army. And I switched over and I went to undergrad, used the GI Bill. I switched over to the Navy because I got a scholarship to medical school. And so I served 12 of the years as a physician, 4 years of it as enlisted as a combat medic. In fact, the day I graduated from combat medic school was the day that Operation Desert Shield became Operation Desert Storm. And yeah, I just dated myself big time. I realize that. But it's interesting because when I left medicine after 26 years, I guess I'm still a doctor. I always will be, but um, I was triple boarded, which means I had 3 different specialties. I was about to get my 4th. I was working on getting in sleep medicine next. And let me tell you, man, I worked as a surgeon, as a physician. I built this business empire with my partners that was just revolutionized healthcare. But I could do anything with this physical body almost. And if I didn't, I knew how to get the right people in there to fix the physical body. Preventative health for the physical body, man. You get your physical, you go out, you exercise, you lose. I mean, you do all the stuff preventative. You check your cholesterol, you everything. But what the hell are we doing for our mental health, right? Um, in Western society, and it's not just in the U.S., but in Western society, we view mental health as secondary, tertiary. It's got a stigma behind it. Like you don't talk about stuff like that. And man, I didn't, and I know you didn't either. We've had that conversation. Um, I I did all right, man. I left in 2005. I left the military, and when I left, I left after 16 years. And that was kind of hard leaving 4 years from a pension. My next duty station was going to be Barbers Point, Hawaii, for God's sakes, you know? And
Wow.
I still got out, moved to Dallas, Texas, went to work as a doctor in a small practice that I wound up buying a year and a half later. And we built that into a healthcare empire in Texas that just, we built it on a lot of military principle and culture. And it was great. But 2007 is when my PTSD really started to set in bad. And we can go into whatever specifics you want. I'm not ashamed to talk about it, but I was then, because there were literally comments from people that
Uh-huh.
were in my own leadership that worked for me. There was a doctor that was very open about his PTSD, Army doc, that my CEO for a short time said, "Well, I'm going to go out there and talk to him. Is he going to go postal on me?" I said, "Excuse me?"
Yeah, I know all about that. Yeah.
I said, "Excuse me?" He goes,
Yep.
"Well, I hear he's got PTSD." I went, "Yeah, it's not herpes. You'll be all right, man." Um,
Right.
and you know, sorry, man, I got a sick sense of humor, but
No, you
that
good.
pissed me off so bad. It was a great pleasure. Shortly after that, that I sat down with one of my investors, and that was his last day. You know, terribly
Right.
sorry, but today's your last day, kind of thing. But anyway, I lived with the stigma for a long time, and I sought care through the VA, and man, I can't even tell you how many medications I was on. 18
Yeah.
years of medications. Look, hey, hats off, salute to all my friends at the VA and work in the VA system. Man, thank you. Thank you for the service you provide. Thank you for what you do. This is not on you. This is on a broken
Yeah.
system. This is on a
Yeah.
system of Western medicine in general that is just not getting it. It is powered by things that, man, if you had asked me 3 years ago, I'd have said conspiracy theory stuff, right? But it's not.
Right.
It's the reality of what
Yeah.
corporate America is now. But anyway, I digress. After 18 years of dealing with PTSD, I finally decided to exit from that company that I built with my partners, and I sold to a very, very large U.S., actually worldwide company. And man, that point, had the houses, had the cars, had the
Yeah.
vacations, had the food, had the kids, had the wife, had the dogs, cats. That's supposed to be the American dream, right? My dad was a teacher. My mom was a secretary. They couldn't afford to send me to school, hence the military,
Right.
which I'm proud of my service. But that was the American dream. So why was I living in a damn nightmare?
Right.
You know? Why was I the unhappiest I'd ever been in my life, in the darkest place? Why did I finally understand suicide? You know? And I say that very openly now, where I wouldn't have talked to anybody about that before. But I look back, one of my medications I was on for a number of years started to cause a central nervous system tremor. And I had a really shaky voice like Katharine Hepburn, right? And it was not
Uh,
sexy on me at all. But I couldn't even walk down steps, man. I had to tremor so bad in my lower extremities, I'd have to find the elevator to go down one floor. And
wow.
I had to stop operating. I hid it as long as I could. And so, anyway, look, I'm not very typical. I'm 55 years old. physician, multi-boarded physician, two wars served through, book into my career. I choose not to be common. Hell, half my body is covered in artwork, right? And that company I sold to actually had to change their tattoo policy to let me sit at the board table, and it was really pretty cool. But look, my tattoo artist of all people, who had been with me hundreds of hours, he's the one that told me about this treatment I eventually went to. And man, I sold 3 years ago. I stayed on with him for a year to help transition all my people over that worked for me. And I watched them destroy the culture and the
What you
fabric
built.
of what I put into that. And I'm gonna meet my obligations of non-disparage, and I'm not gonna say any names. But I I finally gave in one day, and I started looking into that treatment that my all of all people, my damn tattoo guy told me about. And I said, you know what? Let me look into it. Well, I did ibogaine. You've heard Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, everybody talk
Yeah.
about it. I hadn't at that point. This was years ago.
Oh, Charlie, I think your thing went on mute. I think you went on mute. There we go.
We good?
Yep.
What part did I catch off on?
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Okay. So, you've seen ibogaine on Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, but this was years ago, man. This is before we really had any real knowledge of it. I spent months
Right.
researching. So I finally went. I prepared for 4 months, and man, best decision I made in my life. I
Wow.
went through a single dose of ibogaine, which, by the way, I'll just tell everybody, some people call it plant medicine. I'll call it what it is. It's psychedelic medicine.
Right.
You know, um, Forget the counterculture stuff, man. This has nothing to do with that. This is not recreation.
Right.
This was work, determination. It was intent. And that 10-hour experience, I went into on 2 different psych meds, Lyrica, Ambien to sleep at night, and I'd been on hydrocodone for 15 years, man.
Oh
15
yeah.
years. And I came out the other side of that 10-hour experience cleaning my drawers out, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I cleaned my soul out. And man, all the meds were gone. No withdrawals, no cravings, no rebound.
Wow.
I was at peace, brother.
Wow. That's huge because like we talked about earlier, a lot of veterans don't know that is other sources or alternative ways
Yeah,
to go through the healing process, right? It's
right,
not one
right.
size does not fit all.
No one, nor one pill, nor one
Right.
treatment, right? And I think that's what got to me the most. As I came out the other side of it, I'm floating in this pool in Mexico because the U.S. is only one of 9 countries in the world where this is not legal. In the world.
Wow. Wow.
And it's been used for hundreds of years in West Africa, and great, great teachings behind it. Anyway, so I'll tell you, it's not for everybody. There's definitely some contraindications to using it. But man, it took my ego, chewed it up, spit it out, and I came out the other
Yes.
side, and I say, I'm just what's left of the former Dr. Charlie Powell. But I was healed. So I sat there in a lot of dismay, man, just going, how is it? 26 years in the practice of medicine, before that, a combat medic, dedicated my life to medicine, was multi boarded, ran a huge healthcare system. Why didn't I know about this? Why did I learn about
Right.
this from my tattoo artist, right? That I would say it angered me, but I didn't find anger anymore. And
Because if you
it
didn't
put
know,
me
how
in,
many
in
others don't
dismay.
know either? You
Right.
know?
And now it's getting more popularized because there's courageous people like you, Rogan, Sean Ryan, everybody that's out there talking about it. There's physicians putting their own medical licenses on the line to talk about it. And their medical boards are coming down on us, man. They don't like us talking about things that, aren't legal in the US. But man, tell me this. For 20 years for yourself, for 16 years for me, and for your countless visitors, your listeners out there, let's add up all of our years of service right now, man. It's just a number that's so large you can't even imagine.
Right.
But why is it all of those combined years of service that all 18 million of us veterans put in, why are we having to leave the borders we secured to go get help? Now, look,
Yes.
I know there's some treatments out there that work just fine in the U.S. I was part of that system, and that's why I've never been upset with the VA or any doctor I saw in the U.S. because I knew they were doing the best for me they could.
Right.
But one pill doesn't fit all. And I'm not saying this is a miraculous cure, but I can tell you, 18 years of the same treatments, a lot of people have been through. You look at
Right.
ECT, you look at EDMR, you look at any of the treatments that are out there, they work with some, but they don't work with all. But for me, that was my linchpin.
Right.
That was only about 20% of my healing process, but it was the 20% I didn't have.
Right.
And man, let me tell you something. I didn't think the words psychedelic and medicine deserved to be in the same book or in the same section of the library. But
It's a
now I look
different
at it going,
experience.
damn, man, if I wouldn't have found that, I'd be dead by now.
Yeah. And
I have
and
no doubt
that's
in my
why I
mind.
share. That's why I share with people. It's like, I talk about like, look, I just want to provide information. Now, what you do with the information is on you, but I don't want you to
Right,
walk around or go around
right,
anywhere not knowing that, hey,
right.
if that's not working, hey, look into this. Do your research, because everybody body takes stuff differently, right? Like, what works for
Yep,
me might not work for you, but at least now you have the information where you can look into it and see if that's a possibility um to help you, to get
yep,
you out of that funk, or to get you back in. I don't even like calling it the new normal, but just get you and back to some type of framework that you could kind of, call life again, right? It's just instead of
right.
going through the motions and feeling like a zombie.
To realize that okay, look, for years, and you may have felt this way. I know a lot of people, a lot of veterans, a lot of people with PTSD do. You feel like the trauma has a hold of you. You feel like it is ingrained into your every fiber of yourself and your soul. But when you finally wake up and you realize you're so powerful, it was you that was holding on to it. All you had to do was let it
Just
go.
let it go. I knew he's gonna say that. Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
And
Yeah.
and and that's why I was gonna ask you. So what inspired you to create the documentary Healing Heroes No Mind Left Behind?
Good question. I'm sitting here hand motioning. I talk with my hands. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no,
I
that's good.
my
That's
my
good.
daughter
Yeah.
my daughter and I go for mani pedi days now, and she taught me into black fingernail polish. So my apologies, but I love it. I'm kind of
No,
getting
you
used to
good.
it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I okay. So when I came out the other side of it, I realized that I was not really serving a purpose that I needed to serve. First of all, with a 21-year-old now special needs son, I've created the world's first resort system for special needs families. We got our
Oh,
first
that's
location
awesome.
opening up in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, in May of 26, and we got many others coming behind it. But besides that, I thought about. I've been to several conferences. One of them, VETS. VETS is a great system, a great organization that is run by an ex-Navy SEAL, phenomenal man, who they help bring awareness to this. And I'm
Um,
sitting there, and Governor Rick Perry's there, Senator Crenshaw's there. You got people from the left and the right there. And you got Rick Perry sitting up there
wow.
going, you might ask yourself what a knuckle dragon right wing is doing here, talking about psychedelics. But let me tell you, we're missing the ball on some things here. And so when I
Right.
realized that lawmakers that powerful were not able to get through the walls put up by the FDA, put up for reasons we won't talk about today, but
Um,
if they couldn't get through it, how can I get to every other doctor that's out there and just say, hey, open your mind to this? Well,
right.
they're going to follow FDA. Well, go further. if we truly live in a democracy, which I like to think there's some order of if you know, the power of the people, right? We
Mhm.
got to change the minds and perceptions of the American public about this stuff. So anyway, my story was legendary of what I experienced in that 10 hours. And I used to tell people about it, but I don't tell them about it anymore because then they expect their experience to be the same, and it's never going to be the
Right.
same.
Everybody have their own experience. Yes.
Everybody's got their own experience. And but what I decided to do was put my money where my mouth was. Now you got to realize I did really good in the Powell game show of life. I did good. And I I and I walked away from it all, brother.
Wow.
I went
That's
back to
huge.
one meeting at that organization. Lasted 45 minutes, and I just stood up and went, "Deuce,
Yeah, like,
out of
I
here."
don't wanna do this no more.
Now I walked away from the houses. I walked away from the toys. I walked away from a marriage that had turned toxic after 30 years. I walked away from my country. I moved to Mexico, and I said, "I'm going to sit my happy ass on the beach right here and just
Mm,
put myself back together, man." I know it's a rough life, right? But no, I put some serious soul searching in it as I rebuilt me. You kind of after a point in life, you have to shed the parts that no longer serve you any purpose. And you got to
got
put
you.
new parts in that really make you who you meant to be for the next step in life. And I I realized that I need to put my money where my mouth was. So I serendipitously came across 5 veterans and 1 police officer with bad PTSD. And the 6 of them were so damn courageous, they allowed me to document their stories. Now, we don't go into great details on the personal side or what they experienced in their experience, but we created a program just for veterans that is specific for veterans' needs with PTSD, a 10-day program. Now, I want to be clear on something. I do not own or operate treatment centers. I will not. If any treatment center ever came to me and said, "We'd like to know your secret sauce or compare it to our notes," I will give it to you
Mm,
open source. I don't care. That's not what I'm here to do.
right.
But we
Up, you're muted again. Try I think your signal cut out. Your signal cut out.
I'm trying to keep this quiet on my end, but
Yeah.
that was my bad. What part did I drop off?
Talk about not going out. You walked away from it all,
Yep,
and
yep.
then yep.
So I walked away from it all. I went down to Mexico. I found 6 people, 6 humans that were so courageous. 5 of them were veterans. One of them was a police officer from New Jersey, and they were so courageous. They agreed to let me tell their stories. They
Mm,
agreed to let me document them going through this. So I got to interview in June of 24 all of their families. I
mm,
got to see the conversations that were taking place. The family didn't want to say anything because they've already been through enough. They didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to make their family to know how broken they were or how broken they felt.
right.
And so I got to document that. And then I got to bring them down to Mexico to a program that we designed
Nice.
specifically for veterans. Now, I want to be clear, I do not own treatment centers. I do not
Right.
run treatment centers. I will give what we did open source code to anybody that wants it, the steps we took to find their healing. And take what parts of it you want, get rid of the others. I don't care. But I brought them
Right.
down to Tulum, Mexico, and I had 10 days of watching them transform back into humans. This
Wow.
wasn't just about the medicine. This was about
Right.
teaching them how to be individuals again. What are core values? What are your core values? What are core aspirations? What are priorities? How to be a husband,
Right.
how to be a dad, how to be an effective woman in society, which I didn't teach that part, unfortunately. That came from my team. but I don't think I could have done that justice, man. I look horrible in heels. And that was hey, that was not a sexist joke, everybody. I really just do look horrible in
Yeah,
heels.
yeah.
Anyway, I no, I joke about a lot of things, but not about this, man. Because let me tell you, in that 10 days, in that 10 days, after 26 years of the practice of medicine, I
Mhm.
had the 10 most rewarding days of my career, those 10 days, watching those 6 people
Transform.
get their hero status reinstated, man.
Right.
And then we went further. I got to capture them going home. After they went home, I let them settle in for a month because the biggest risk here is after treatment, people falling into old ruts.
Yes.
And so I went there after a month. And when you hear a little girl say, "Thanks for bringing my daddy back,"
That's huge.
when you hear a father of a rape victim say, "This time our daughter came all the way home. Thank you." Man, what's different? Look, there's other movies out there and documentaries about this. In fact, Waves of War, hats off to you guys. That just came out on Netflix on Veterans Day.
Okay.
But PTSD is not a diagnosis of special forces. It's not a diagnosis of combat or military. It's life. Trauma's life, man.
Right.
It's rape. It's childhood abuse. It's like you experienced, coming across that unresponsive infant, right?
Right.
Most of my traumas had nothing to do with combat. They were back when I was a trauma surgeon, ER doc, man.
Right.
Family of 5 hit by a drunk driver, and the only survivor was the 6-year-old little girl who was a paraplegic and on a vent for the rest of her life with no family or understanding of what happened to them.
Wow.
That's life that we experience. And so, anyway, I went a step further. I waited a year and I continued following those 6 amazing people up until August of this year. And we had a reunion in Austin, Texas. And
I mean,
man,
I could have came up there, but see if we
you
would have
could have
known
come
each other.
up. In
Yeah, that's
fact,
right up the
in fact,
highway from me.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to meet you there because there's a place called 12 Fox Brewery. Every
Okay, 12
Monday
Fox
night,
40.
man, up to 50 to 100 veterans show up and they have a
Really?
beer.
Okay.
They have a free beer and they sit around and they talk. The judge
Wow.
helps, the attorney helps, the doctor's there for advice, the electrician, the tree trimming guy. They come together as a community to help each other. Oh,
Wow.
you mean we weren't wrong all these years? That's the way it's supposed to be?
Wow. So if
Anyway,
you're in
but
the San Antonio,
look,
Austin area or in the surrounding
yeah,
areas, head on up to 12 Fox Brewery. Where is it? You
12
said
Fox
Mondays?
Brewery, every Monday night.
There we
Every
go.
Monday night. Those guys at 12 Fox are amazing. Hats off to you guys, man. What you're doing out there inspired me to put the whole platform together, to put the band back together. We'll talk about it on another show.
Man, this is so awesome. Ah, man, this is electric right here. Like this is a full charge. I tell people like, in order for you to be connected to somebody, once you plug in and you get that energy, that charge, it's genuine, right? It's not.
Yeah,
I tell people like I am very unscripted, right? Like I don't even know what I'm gonna say. It's just like whatever feels right because once you feel that energy and that connection, and Dr. C, you just like you talked about, right? Like a lot of years I was just quiet, right? I kept it to myself, kept stuff bottling because I didn't want, like, oh, you're not gonna know my inside. Like I'm only gonna let you know what I want you to know. Right. And that was that protection mode, and just like
yeah,
we shared earlier, with PTSD is that stigma, right? You get that stamp or and I tell people it's not just because you're in the military, like you said, PTSD could be from anything, trauma, sexual, it could be from anything, a
right,
post-traumatic stress.
right, right. Look, I have seen, I ran across a patient, a woman, I can't say patient, I don't treat anybody anymore, but I ran across this woman who had classic PTSD symptoms from a traumatic childbirth she experienced. I'm like, man, women's been doing that for eons, but it has nothing to
Right,
do with what somebody else might identify as a trauma. It's what
right,
that individual does. In fact, Levine defines it as something that comes at you too fast, too much, too soon, and you don't have the tools to deal with it. And man, let me tell you something. I think the reason that we're seeing elevated rates of PTSD spike up again isn't just the war on terror, man.
mm,
It's that we're not teaching our kids anymore the tools they need to process the shit they're going to encounter in life. And if I'm
yeah,
right on that, we're screwed. We got to get on top of that. We got to fix this.
yeah. Yeah. So you talk about solo. Now, I had to make sure I was saying it right. Solo
Solo
vibe.
vive,
Solo
vive,
vive. Like, what does that mean
vive.
to you personally? Like, what made you say, you know what, I'm gonna do my company with solo vive, scientific solo vive? Like, what made you
Yeah.
say this is gonna be the call sign, right? This is my new
Well,
call sign right here.
I gotta be honest with you. So it was Vive at one point. It was Vive Scientific. That's my company
Okay.
that holds my medical patents and all the technologies I've created over the years. I was an engineer before I was a physician and biologist and all that good stuff. And I so I hold a lot of medical patents and stuff that still hadn't even hit the market yet. But once I came through the other side of healing, you realize it's Vive, which just means life. And so
Uh,
my new friends in Mexico become my family there, and I still got family here in Dallas. I love my family on both sides of the border. Um, I said, "Hey, how do you say 'just live' in Spanish?" They were like, "Solo vive,
there we
solo
go.
vive, solo vive, solo vive." So that's the parent company that sits on top of this, and the resort systems under it. My tech company, um, my movie studio, which has Healing Heroes coming out in March, like you said. Um, dude, I'm far from being done. What about you?
Oh, say I already told you. I said, long as I'm still breathing, me paying it forward. That's me paying it forward because I know what it's like to be in silence. I know what it's like to suffer in silence. And I told you before, I don't want nobody to go through what I went through and not knowing is
Right,
stuff out there to help you through it, right? So it was just,
right.
whatever I could do, and we talked about it, right? PTSD being heavily stigmatized, and I just want to bust that myth, right?
Yeah.
And share like, hey, you can live with it. Is other opportunities, the options out there. I don't want to say easier to live with, but manageable, right? You can manage it better. It's all about managing
Let me
it.
no, I agree. Let me tell you something I did right before I went into treatment. Look, I was just going to take 10 days off, do this program, and come back, and hopefully it made me better. And I didn't really tell anybody what I was going to do.
Uh,
But I got stuck between a rock and a hard place. And let me tell you, every Tuesday morning we held town hall for all employees. And I call it my morning
mm,
show, man, because we had a fun time, kind of like this.
yeah,
We talked about culture, we talked about leadership, we talked about the business. And man, that was just the culture we had there. That's where everybody had an economy outside of just getting a damn paycheck.
right.
And I remember I was leaving Wednesday to go for treatment, and this was my last town hall. It was, I didn't realize it was my last town hall. But I remember I started it off, and I found out some bad news was going to be delivered while I was gone. And I wasn't going to be there for my people. I could not stand the fact they would have thought I abandoned them when some of that bad news got delivered. And
Uh,
instead, I went on that thing that morning and I told my co-host, my executive VP of operations, I said, dude, this one's mine. I got it. He goes, all right, cool. And I went into full confession. I did
uh,
it because I needed my people to know I loved them and I would never, never run away from them. But this was something I had to do, right? And I was going to be
right.
10 days no contact. And I told him everything, man. I said, man, I've been suffering for 18 years. I don't show it. I'm a highly functional person with PTSD, but I am fucking dying inside.
Yeah,
And at the end of it, after that full confession for about 30 minutes, I said, Dr. Powell signing out. Click. And man, I fell to the floor. I cried so fucking hard, man. I
right.
cried hard. And I mean, I don't think I've ever cried like that, man. And I started hearing my computer open. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
Emails hitting. Man, If anybody out there was one of my people and you're listening to this now, I love you. The words of encouragement that came back from people, some of them probably didn't even like me that much. They didn't
Right.
know me. But I can remember one particular, Stacy, if you're listening, I love you, Stacy. She said,
Yeah.
I'm standing up in my chair right now cheering you on.
That's awesome.
I am
Wow.
cheering you on. God bless you, and you have inspired me to get help too.
Wow.
So if I
What
have
would
one
you
message to
say?
your listeners, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
I
was
didn't mean to
gonna
interrupt, but
say. Mm,
yeah,
I was gonna say, what would you say? Because I know you're gonna answer this question because we're already locked into the same, like we got the same vibe, the same frequencies going on. So I was gonna ask you, what would you tell somebody, veterans, not like anybody that's dealing with trauma, who feel like healing isn't possible? Like, what would you tell them to like how to kind of break through that barrier? What would you say to them?
just because they disassembled the band, they took us from 4 branches of service to 18 million spare tarts cast out with broken promises. It does not mean you're alone. You're not. You got guys like this putting a podcast on, pulling people together, letting you know there's healing out there. There are tons of us that yearn for the same thing, and that's the community to come back, right? You're not alone. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you deserve it. And what I mean by that, I have run across too many men and women that said, I suspected they had PTSD because after a bit, you get to see it in the eyes, right? And
Right.
I was like, hey, just curious, you suffer from, and I've heard this too many damn times. I don't deserve that diagnosis.
Yeah.
I wasn't a Navy SEAL. I'm like, dude, you made it into SEAL school. Who cares if you didn't make it through?
Right.
You were an underwater demolition specialist, dude. Like, come on.
Right.
And, there's so many people that think they don't deserve the diagnosis because either they weren't special forces, they weren't in combat. But, dude, if you have been alive in this human experience,
Yeah. Human experiences. Right.
yeah, right, then
Yeah.
you've probably got some damn trauma, man. And
Right.
so don't ever sell yourself short. But lastly, don't ever hit that reset button on life, man. Finish your mission. Find healing. I got a new platform we briefly talked about. I said I wasn't going to talk about here, but I'm going to talk about it for a second.
Okay.
And essentially, we're putting the band back together again, man. We're gonna do something really incredible, unite all veterans. But there's one pledge when this thing launches in latter part of 26. Anybody that takes their life, any veteran that takes their life, any warrior, even active duty, that takes their life before they have time to heal, we will take on your family and we'll get them back on their feet. We will put
Man,
them back where they were because that's what community does. I
that's
can't wait to
awesome.
launch more about it, man. This is going to be such an incredible platform. And guess what? We'll have to talk again when that one hits. All right.
Oh, look, you could be a recurring guest on the school, come sit down. You come sit on the school bike and get the sodas, the drinks, whatever. We're gonna have a good time, 'cause, like have a real rotation with you, Doc C. So
I'm with you,
I
man. I'm with you.
man, I really appreciate this because I know before we started, I shared about my play, how I came, you know, through I call it through the civilian ranks, right? I did the military thing. Now coming through the civilian ranks, literally started from the ground to where I'm at. So what can you share with employers to do better to understand veterans and their invisible wounds? Because since you've been at the top, you had your companies and you was pulling people in from different locations and like, hey, we're gonna service veterans. Like, what can you share with them? Like, hey, um, these invisible wounds, like what's some advice you could share with them?
I'll tell you the same thing I teach my kids. They're adults now, 18, 21, and 24. You know, how many times you've been in traffic and you get that jackass that cuts you off or somebody that just almost clips you or they're hauling ass and weaving in ass through traffic, or they're stopping up next to a stop sign, they're flipping you off, whatever, because you did something to them. Just remember one thing. They're you. You're
Yeah,
them. You don't know what the hell they just been through.
right.
Have the energy and the love in your soul to sit there and go, I'm going to take the lighter side of this. I wish you a blessed day. Is there anything I can
Mm,
do to help? Because let me tell you something. you'll be surprised at the number of people that will, first of all, the vast majority that will instantly defuse and go,
Right.
huh? You care
Right.
about
That's
me?
true.
And I
That's
learned
so
about that
true.
in psychiatry and medical school. Somebody coming at you with a behavioral problem, like coming at you aggressively,
Uh,
offer them something to eat or to drink. And
yeah.
I'm not saying all employers need to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you show care, genuine care for another human being, they go, maybe this life ain't so bad. There's
Right.
somebody right here that cares. So I would say be understanding and know that there's just some things you're not going to know or understand. But look, 55% of us in America
Uh,
will have a mental health issue in our lifetime. 55%. I think it's much higher, but that means there's a 100% chance it's going to happen to you or somebody you love.
oh, wow.
So be
That's
aware. Mental health is the most important health because this body, this thing we're in right here, it's just here to carry us around this human experience, man.
right.
It's all
The
about the
human
mind
experience.
experiencing what the body
Hey,
takes
I'm
us
going
to.
to use that. I'm going to use that. Like, hey, I'm just enjoying the human experience.
I'm just joining the human experience, man. I
Yeah,
came here for a reason. I don't know what all it is yet, but I'm following purpose till I find it.
man, that's wow. That's huge, man. I look. I appreciate you coming on to sharing. Everybody, I need you to mark your calendars right now. Like whatever you're doing, if you're driving, pull over like Dr. C and pull up your iPhone or your Google Cloud or your Android. I need you to lock in for March 2026 for the release of the documentary. Okay? Healing Heroes. No Man Left Behind.
Yep. We wouldn't leave a man behind. No man left behind, right? No woman left behind. Let's not leave our minds behind either. I want to end you with this one scene. It's the closing scene of the movie. So spoiler alert. Here you go. All right. The final scene of the movie, I do what's called a desert march. And what I do
Uh,
is I go out there and go out to the desert, and I say on 9/11/2001, our homeland was attacked, and nearly 3,000 souls were lost that day. For each 1,000 souls lost, I take a step into the desert. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and I drop a white rose, and I salute it, and I come back. But after that
wow.
day, we came together as a country. We promised to never forget, and we waged war on terror. And on those battlefields, we've lost about 7,000 military. So for each of the 1,000 of those lives lost, I take a step for you into the desert. So 1,000, 2,000, I pass the first rose, and I go out 7 steps. Then I come back and I go, now this next march is because we forgot. We broke our promise. But this next march, I take one step into the desert for every 1,000 veterans who have taken their lives since 2001. And the song starts playing, and I march 183 steps into the desert.
Wow.
It
Salute.
can't be this way, guys. No one's coming to rescue us. We got to rescue each other.
Yeah, I tell you, like, nobody's. I had to tell that stuff every day. I fight to get up to go to the gym to get my steps. I like, look, man, ain't nobody coming to save you, man. You gotta, if you want this weight to come off, you gotta get out there and do it yourself. Nobody's coming to save you. You gotta get up and do it. Cause once people see you doing it, Doctor, see, I got people coming up to me to the gym and giving me pointers on, hey, try this and try that. Like, cause they see me in there daily, putting
You're
in the
working
work.
it. You're doing it, right? You're trying, and people see you trying. And guys, all I got to say is be vocal about this. You're not broken. You're meant to bend. You're not broken. You're meant to bend, man. Let me tell you. And it's time to realize you're still a hero. Everybody's a hero. Do not hit that reset button. Just remember one thing life has to give to all of us. Here's my advice. I was born with a special needs son, and first I felt sorry for myself not having the first son to carry on the family name and all that, blah 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 blah. But you know how much joy that boy's brought into my life? You know how much he's taught me about life? So life has a message for you. Every time it gives you something It's a difficult challenge. I'm not going to say good or bad. Get rid of that. Difficult, challenging time in life. That's life telling you, I'm sorry, and you're welcome. You make it through the
Sorry,
other
and you're
side of
welcome.
that, and I promise you're going to find yourself stronger and better and more ready for your purpose than anything ever before.
Wow. On that note, how do they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with the company? How can they get on that 10 days? I'm sure it's a waiting list. Okay. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a waiting list for the experience. How do
Again,
they get in touch? Like,
I
how
I
can
do
they
not
connect
have a
with you?
I do not have a treatment center, guys, because I did not want this film to come out and look like I was promoting something to fill my pockets. I put millions into this project because I just want awareness. But I will tell you, there's some great centers out there. Heroic Hearts out of New York, Jesse Gould, that company, Heroic Hearts, they actually help fund veterans to go on these journeys. Mission Within, Ambio, all of those are great companies that will get you to the good places if you're seeking out that type of help. But myself, I will not deliver treatment programs. I have had that part of my life. I got a different purpose now, and I'll be glad to share those treatment steps to anybody. So anyway, healingheroes.com is the website for the movie. You can check out some of the trailers there. Man, we are in the final editing stages, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. Look, I've never made a movie before, but I've watched HBO since I was 4 years old, man.
Right. It's certified, certified.
You know it. You know it. Certified. Anyway, look, thank you for having the show like this because look, when you can bring some reality to it, when you connect with somebody, when you can bring that jovial, first thing I saw in you was that damn smile when I got on here, right? When you can bring that out and people see that, just like cancer is contagious, so is shit like that, man. Positive, bring it, genuine, authentic. That beats everything else, man.
And just like that, everybody, we sat on the stoop, we got the scoop with Dr. C. And remember, you do not have to drown in the sea of transition. You grab that VET S.O.S. Lifeline. So for the ones who just tuning in, who just find out about VET S.O.S, it means vets share our story, right? That's what it means, VET S.O.S. And the theme or the driving force behind it is you do not have to drown in the sea of transition, because we all know is if you in the middle, you're a naval officer, if you're in the middle of that ocean or that Atlantic and there's no lights around and there's you, the ship, and there's nothing. It's dark. It's dark out there.
Your shipmates are there with you, though.
There we go.
That's who's
And
there
that's
with
what
you.
it's all about, right? That's what it's
Yep.
all about. So we're
Hey,
here for you. Reach out to us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, everybody, take care. Peace.
solo vive.